So then President Lee contacted Buddy and said, bring me in. And I went in to President Lee's office, and he said, I have been able to talk with President Smith about this, and he has said he said to me, I carried this burden on my shoulders all these years, and now the mantle is placed on gracious shoulders. And I felt that mantle put on me. And was heavy. And Buddy and Tony were there, and Buddy Younggreen, who had been, he was the one that taught me practically everything about the church history. And here in 1972, he's starting the Joseph Smith Senior Family Organization and asked me to participate. And that's why I was there in Provo with him, and that's why he took me to see President Lee. I need to back up just a little bit because I had had dreams of these three women who came to me and begged me to do something for their husband. And I didn't know who they were at all. Well, out of the blue, without any reason, I get a package in the mail, and it's a copy of a book called Ancestry and Posterity of Joseph Smith and Emma Hale. And it was written by Mary Audentia Smith Anderson, who is the daughter of Joseph Smith III, the son of the prophet, who led the reorganized church for almost 50 years. And she had compiled this genealogy to prove that Joseph Smith and Emma's ancestry was fine people and that their posterity were fine people. And so it's a marvelous piece of work. Actually, genealogy, you can't hardly believe she could do that without computers. She did it. And I received this copy in the mail, and I opened it up, and there are the pictures of the three women that I had had in my dream, and they were all three married to Joseph Smith III. They were all his wives, one at a time, because he spent his whole life fighting the principle of plural marriage, never acknowledged that his father ever participated in any such of a thing. And here, all three of those women have visited me in my dream. And the place that they visited me was, I was sitting on a chair, and there was a wall, and there was a stairway going up. And I described this location in this dream to Buddy, and Buddy took me to the building where that location is. He recognized it from my description, took me in there, and I go, are you kidding? This is where I was sitting right here, and each one of those women came and stood in front of me and begged me to do something for their husband. Didn't name him, just said, please help me, help my husband. And so I told him this dream, and so this was part of what President Lee took down in his recording. And there were other aspects of it, but that was the main one. But when I looked in that book, and here it came out of the blue, I look and see that who they are, I know then that Joseph III is wishing to have his temple work done. And I cannot get it cleared because there's a stamp on the back that says not to be done until further revelation is received. And it was impossible. So I kept calling. I called the First Presidency's office and asked for an interview with Joseph Fielding Smith. And he said, his secretary said, he can't talk about it with you right now. You can talk to him, you can see him, but you can't talk about this subject, it upsets him. So then that was why Buddy Younggreen took me to see President Lee, president of the 12 Apostles. And when he took all of that down on tape, then I was invited in, as I said. I was invited in to hear what President Smith did. And he told me, the mantle is placed on Gracia's shoulders. And I felt the burden. So Buddy got all excited. We could go to the temple this afternoon. We could do all of these people that aren't done. And out of my mouth comes, it can't be done at this time. I didn't want to say that. I didn't think it up. I just said, it can't be done at this time. And Buddy's just hopping up and down. He's so upset. And President Lee says, hush, Buddy, let Gracia talk. And I can't really quote all the things I said, but I conveyed to them that it was not yet time for this to be done. And the time would come when it would be done. It would be done at the proper time and by the proper people. And I said, and President Lee said to me, well, what would you like done, Gracia? I said I would like it put on a review circumstance so that the First Presidency will review it when the time is right. Then let me know what I need to do, if anything. And it went that way, and that was 2 weeks later, President Joseph Fielding Smith died. And President Lee became president of the church. And this issue was still on review until President Spencer W. Kimball reviewed it. And you know, he was the do-it prophet. That was his motto, do it. And he took care of it. And that's all I will really say about it. It's a sacred subject that I just wouldn't go into. But
what's interesting,
that's when then the First Presidency took some action. And they didn't redo Joseph and Emma. They had already done their own work in their lifetime.
yeah.
But they did an enactment that put it on the record, official. I don't know what they did.
So
They called it something legal term that lawyers use to make a record of a record that makes it absolutely positive that it was done.
like a ratification.
A ratification, yeah.
So when you're talking about all this, what I'm seeing